Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared, and we are live on Neevesknives, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully everybody is doing well. We have a lot of awesome topics today to go through, and there's quite a few of them, and I know some of them are going to get into the weeds. We also have an awesome story for story time, so that'll be a lot of fun. Yes, don't forget to hit the like button on your way in or out. Sorry about that. All right, hopefully the volume's good. Let me turn this up a little bit. All right, let's get started. Knives Fast ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you know. Yeah, let us know about that one. Love to know how that one turns out. So first, we're gonna get into here in just a little bit. Holy cow, what is going on? Maurice Clemens starting off hot. This is gonna be a good live, guys. This is gonna be a good one. Holy shit. I'm supposed to wait 60 seconds before I start cursing. Thank you, man. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Holy cow. This definitely is starting off really good. This is gonna be a great live. We're gonna leave that up there for a moment. Thank you, man. Thank you, Maurice. We are going to get really deep into some steel talk after some people crowd in here. So we got some small topics we're going to go into, and then we'll get into some deep steel talk. We're going to talk about a bunch of different steels, not just one, but we're going to talk quite a bit about 10V. 10V is going to be one of the biggest subjects, but it's going to stretch into a lot of other steels as well. Now, first thing I kind of want to talk about just really quick, and this is just a quick one, is about smoothness in knives, right? I'm kind of wondering if we're getting into the weeds with how smooth, what's up, Ed? How smooth we want our knives, because you know, back in the day, smoothness of knives was just the level of smoothness. It didn't really have anything to do with dropping shut, false shut action. It was just feeling how frictionless it was. And now we've gotten to the point to where if it doesn't just drop, like if it doesn't try to chop your finger off on the way down, it's like, oh, it ain't no good. It's no good. And I think we might be starting to get off into the weeds a little bit with that, because it's at some point, eventually, especially with so many different companies, we are going to start hurting the integrity of the knife. It is going to get to the point to where the tolerances are, because why would a company make super tight tolerances if the super tight tolerances lead to slower action, when they could do loose tolerances and get crazy, ridiculous, smooth action that everybody wants, right? But you know, back in the day, the point was to have crazy tight tolerances and get it as smooth as possible, right? But you could feel still how tight the action was, how tight the pivot was, how everything is just super solid. And I'm not talking about blade play, because it's really easy for a company to make sure you don't have blade play, no blade rock, no lock rock, but it's stupid drop shutty, stupid false shut action. But it's because the tolerances are a lot looser than, say, a company where they are, you know, quite a bit tighter, right? Now, there are those companies that, like Goroff, and you know, you guys can name a bunch, that do it well, right? They can give you that crazy, ridiculous smooth action and keep the tolerances super tight, but that comes at a cost, right? When you start asking for some of this stuff, you know, in the lower ranges, I think we start getting off in the weeds a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I love it too. I love it too. I want me some great false shut action, but I also, I personally, you know, maybe not everybody in here, but I personally do. I also find that really tight action that's not drop shutty at all, but it's frictionless. It's super smooth. I also find that very appealing as well. I really like that. And call me old fashioned, whatever, because you know, some people say, well, you're getting old. And there might be something to that. There might be something to that too. But I think personally that what happens is the longer you're in the community, right? You have these little fads that you chase in the beginning, and everybody wants to get like, say, before you ever had a front flipper, you're like, oh, I got to get a front flipper. I got to get a front flipper. But after you've had 10 front flippers, you don't really give a shit about a front flipper no more. And after you've been through everything, right? You've been through everything. You've done everything. You've seen it all. You come back to a point to where you appreciate the long lasting longevity of the knife that has those super tight tolerances, that maybe is not crazy false shutty, but it's never off centered, right? It's the lockup is solid every single time. And you start appreciating some of those other features that maybe get overlooked during your journey. You wind up getting to a point to where there's a bunch of details that you really, really love about a knife that maybe in the beginning might be called old fashioned. Cue ball with the 5 bounce. Shout out to Maurice. You are an incredibly generous part of this community. Absolutely. Thank you, Cue Ball. You yourself are very generous too, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I see we have another one. I seen Stasa was in here. John Evans, thank you, man. Happy Saturday, tribe. Love you all. Thank you, man. Thank you for the donation. Oh, here he is. There's Stasa. It's funny. I tuned my Kaiser T1. Bang. And it free drops effortlessly, and I don't love it. I actually prefer just a hydraulic smooth. I get like that too sometimes. Okay, so this is kind of the way my mind starts working around it just a little bit. And this isn't always, right? There's always variables, there's always, different things, but that action when it's almost too smooth, which this is very smooth, but when it gets too smooth, it almost starts at this point. Back in the day, it felt, more expensive. It felt good, but in some ways they start feeling cheap. Like you start liking a little bit more, not necessarily so tight to where you have to slow roll it, but you kind of like that solid feel, the feel of a knife that is super smooth, but it feels like it's going to last a lifetime rather than something jankety, right? And that's kind of where I'm going with this, is that have we gotten into the weeds? Are we getting into the weeds a little bit with this level of smoothness to the point to where companies are like, okay, all right, that's what they want. They want some drop shutty action. Let's give them what they want, right? And then they don't try to get. Actually, they try to do the opposite. Instead of getting that super level tight tolerance action, they're just like, make it as loose as possible. Just fit the parts together. Make sure there's no blade play and send it out the door. It's what they want, right? That's what they want. And then how can we argue with them? How can we condemn them for that when we're begging for it? Fucking literally begging for it. I think we are in the dick sand. Oh, yeah, we are definitely in the dick sand. I agree. The slow drop seems better, and usually on better knives. That's true. And like Shirogorov, right? Like I have two, and one is very hydraulic where it just slowly drops. And my other one, it does just drop, but it doesn't like just go wham. It slowly drops, but it's still nice and steady. Right here. Like as soon as I move my thumb, yes, it just drops. But you see how it still has that level of smoothness, that it's hydraulic, and I can feel how tight the tolerances are. There's nothing loosey-goosey about this. There's nothing in this that feels even a little bit loose. It feels so tight. And even like with the Slish buoy, it's another reason why I love it so much. It's very tight, and even though when I disengage the lock bar, it does drop, but then when I let go, you see it's not, false shutty or anything, but it has that same consistent level of smoothness, and I can feel how long a lot of people compared this to the Sabenza back in the day, and I get it. I get why. It has that longevity feel to it. That feel that it's going to last a very, very long time. Bearings that feel like nice washers. Yes, yes. Like on Trevor Berger's Take That All Day. Right. I agree, and I've actually made that statement quite a few times where and it takes somebody that has felt a lot of knives to understand, but when I say this knife is on bearings, but it's so smooth, it feels like it's on washers, right? I actually made that statement with the Kaiser Deviant because it has that feeling, that real consistent smoothness where it doesn't feel like it's rolling, it doesn't feel like there's a bearing at all in it, at least mine, you know. I don't know about anybody else's, but mine feels like that. And I love it. I love it because it has that feeling of washers that are so broken in and so polished that they're screaming smooth, because a lot of washer knives, they take time, right? And that's kind of the beauty with washers too. It's like they show up there, you know, they're not necessarily tight, but they're not stupid smooth. But then after you've used it, you've loved it, you've carried it, you've opened it and closed it 1,000 times. Now that thing is so smooth, you love it. And every time you open and close it, it gets smoother and smoother. Hey, quiet down. Custom EDC knives. Thank you for the donation. So no one likes the insane drop shutty action of a Gerzo Nostrand. I love it. I think a lot of people love it. But what I'm saying, and that would be an example of something that has super tight tolerances and can achieve that, but you're paying for that, right? What I'm talking about is us only wanting that, where channels, it's like we're praising that fall shut action over the tolerances of being so tight and also being smooth. Like, I think we're getting off in the weeds just a little bit. I think it's good. It's not bad to have fall shut action. I love it too. Of course I love it too. But there's a tolerance that they still need to achieve before, like, it's something that I think we should be celebrating. I think there's a point, right? There's a point. Now, I'm not saying there's companies that are doing it bad or anything like that. Hang on a second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. She's so loud. Anyways, but yeah, I think we need to be careful with allowing companies to get away with guillotine type action if the tolerances aren't going to be there. I'm not saying don't, like, I'm not saying hate false ready knives. I love them. I love them. I want more of them. But I don't want to take the ones that are not that way and just throw them onto the side and be like, they're not fall shutty. They're not, they don't stand up to this knife. Even though in the long run, the knife that you're saying, that one doesn't do that, will probably last 5 times longer, right? That would be the knife that will outcut, outdo, out compete, out everything, the knife that's doing this. I'm saying, just, beware of where we can make this go if we don't praise some of the things that actually make a damn good knife a damn good knife, right? This little Yorkie, man, this little guy has that level of smoothness. It's very smooth. It is on bearings, but it almost feels like it's on broken in washers. Like, it doesn't have that bearing feel to me. I mean, it does because it's so smooth, but it has that almost like my old V3 Vigor. The V3 Vigor was on phosphor bronze and Teflon, and eventually ours got so smooth that you would think it was on multi-row bearings. That's kind of how this feels. It's very nice. Maurice, thank you again, man. Thank you for the 5 bones. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I think I missed. Did I miss one? I hope I didn't. I feel like I did. All right, so okay. Next one. All right. So this is going to kind of go into a little bit of the steel talk because we have 118 people in here. Let's just fucking get into it. Let's get into this steel talk. We have so many topics to get into. So, and like I said, we have a really good story. So 10V. All right, 10V. I haven't had a ton of experience with 10V. Luke Cole says, I have a QSP Penguin and carbon fiber on washers and one in the frag on bearings. I like the action of the washers better. Mine's on washers. I don't have the titanium one, but I love it, man. Mine came so smooth. Like, I was surprised. My QSP Penguin was like ridiculously smooth out of the box. Like, I already knew like this thing is going to get crazy smooth after it breaks in. Okay, so 10V. I don't have a ton of experience with 10V, but I've already started testing this one, right? And man, this micarta is gonna get, I can tell it's gonna get almost red. Not like red, but you know, like that dark brown reddish color. It's gonna get so nice. Oh yeah, let me just zoom in. I can see it's already starting to age or patina, whatever you want to call it. It's looking really nice. Now, I started testing this, and I started testing next to the K390, okay? Because technically, and you know, let's talk about the benefits of 10V, and then, like I said, we'll go into other steels and stuff. Now, 10V is supposed to be similar to K390. That's kind of like the edge retention wise. Edge retention, it's a little bit better than K390, a little bit. You know, like K390, S90V, edge retention. That's its potential. Now, its toughness, it's not very tough. So its toughness is like D2. Okay. And I know this is kind of broad statements, but I'm whatever. Anyways, so the benefits of 10V is its wear resistance. So its wear resistance is like about as good as you can get. Like 15V would be like the next best thing. Its wear resistance is insane. And we're going to go into what wear resistance is and everything. So it's supposed to be super good, you know, good edge retention. You know, the wear resistance is really good. It's not very stainless. That's the downfall, right? Everything is so good about it, and you know, like you always have the balancing act. And the one downfall of 10V is it's not corrosion resistance. So it's even less than D2. So you know, I guess depending on where you're at, you're gonna want it coated, right? This is coated, so you know, pretty cool. Now, what I'm curious about and what I'm gonna start testing, I already started testing it. So right now I'm gonna go into my K390 really quick because, like I said, there's supposed to be a lot of similarities between the two. If you watch any videos on them, they compare it to K390 a lot. You guys know how much I love K390. So K390, I've tested this thing a lot. It's had, I don't know how many edges, a lot of edges. Now, one of the issues I've kind of had with K390, and I'm not saying like that this is a bad thing or everybody's gonna experience this, because I love K390. So remember that while I'm saying this. But I kind of experience a little tiny bit of microchipping. Now, is that like across the board supposed to happen? I don't think so. And I thought maybe it was just the first couple edges, but recently I put a brand new edge on there, brand new polished edge. Now, one thing I did notice that did get better after sharpening it twice, it got better, was the fine edge holding. So at first, the first edge I put on it, the fine edge holding, well, the first edge I put on, I think, was toothy, and then I went to polished, and then I went to toothy, and then I polished again. But it wasn't holding a long fine edge. It was holding a working edge forever. But the fine edge just wasn't holding up. Now my fine edge lasts a long time. So I'm loving how long the K390 is holding its fine edge now. Like MagnaCut and steels like that, their fine edge, they take a ridiculous fine edge, but they don't hold it. As soon as you start using it, after however many cuts, the fine edge goes away and it's basically a working edge, and then the working edge lasts forever. So now, though, my fine edge lasts really good, like super good. I love it. So now I even love it even more, right? I love K390, but I'm still experiencing a little bit of microchipping. Why? I don't know. Like, and I'm making sure I'm not hitting anything. Like, it's only through regular cutting, you know, like just regular stuff, cardboard, you know, maybe some tape and stuff like that, but nothing bad. And I'm getting little tiny microscopic chips. So stuff that I could hone out, but it just is what it is. Now, 10V having better wear resistance, this possibly should be even better. And so far, I've only put one edge on it, so I've only begun the test. I'm not getting, and I put these through the exact same test today, exact identical, same cardboard, same everything. This one got little tiny bits of microchipping. This one did not. First edge though, remember that. So it might even get even better. Now it's fine edge, holding its fine edge. It wasn't quite as good as the K390, but this one's had a few edges put on it, but it held its own. Really good. No complaints, right? Now, what is wear resistance? Let's talk about that. What wear resistance is, because wear resistance and edge retention, they're not the same, right? They're not the same. So when you think of edge retention, right? Think of like, you know, I actually drew a couple pictures. So think of dulling the edge. The edge is getting dull, right? And wear resistance is its ability to resist basically like steel removal. So like scratches and chips and things like that. Its ability to not do that. So when you think of edge retention, you know, think of like your edge not rounding, right? Here, I drew a little picture really quick. So this would be like, you see how this is rounded at the tip? That would be like the edge retention. So the ability to not round off, right? To go dull. Then wear resistance would be like this, the ability to not do these little micro chips and things like that, which all leads to the same thing. Remember, all these things play a part equaling, you know, a really good steel. And anybody's free to chime in with me of whatever they think, or if they're, you know, going to call bullshit on anything I say or whatever. But both of those together can equal an incredible steel, you know, and they do kind of balance each other out and work together in a lot of ways. Same thing like with toughness and things like that. All those things play a part. Now, where was I? So higher wear resistant steels are going to be the ones that are harder to sharpen. I hate using that word harder because no steel is really hard to sharpen. It just takes more time. So a wear resistant steel, obviously, right? What is wear resistance? It's the ability to withstand from scratching and chipping and things like that, basically wearing out. So since it has the ability to withstand that, or, you know, the ability to not do that, then sharpening it is going to be, it's going to take a little bit more time. It's going to be a little bit more harder. That's why companies doing it, it's going to be a lot harder on their belts and things like that. And also why it might cost a little more. Now, there's something I wanted to say else. Oh, heat treating it. Now, this is where my curiosity is, because I imagine that Josh, thank you for the donation. I know you're all hypnotized, Jared, but try to take a moment to hit the like button. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Definitely don't forget to hit the like button. I do appreciate the donation, and thank you for thinking about that. So heat treating it, I don't know, right? But I would imagine that, hey, mom, I would imagine that it's more difficult to heat treat, possibly. Maybe not, but I would imagine it probably is. I'm pretty sure like steels, when you get to this range, they, you know, they start getting a lot more difficult to heat treat. Now, the one benefit with something like this, you know, being, or not benefit, but being from Kaiser, the one good part about it is this is an exclusive. This isn't something they're just doing tons of. They're doing, it's an exclusive for Blade HQ, I believe. And they're, you know, they're only making so many at a time. I'm not saying they're going to stop selling them. I'm just saying they're not, it's not like they're making them quite like they do some of their other knives where they just keep pumping them out. Now, my concern with 10V at the moment, right? And this is before my testing or anything like that. And, you know, maybe some of you guys have your concerns, but mine is how well can it hold its fine edge? Because a lot of my testing, when I do a lot of testing, one thing that I really like to test for is the fine edge holding. I love, and I know a lot of other people do too, when you can get a ridiculous sharp edge, that fucking hair whittling edge, and keep it, right? Because it doesn't matter if you can get a hair whittling edge if you make one cut and now it's gone, right? Now it's gone. Like the longer it can hold like a hair whittling edge, the longer it can, you know, keep that nasty sharp edge. That's what I like to test for, and that's what I really love about steels. Certain steels do it better than others, you know. So I'm curious how well 10V can hold that nasty sharp edge. K390 does really good, especially now that I've had a couple edges on it. And if they're similar, right, aside from a couple things, then I should I'm hoping that I get that out of this too, that this is able to not only take a really fine edge, and then we're going to get into edge stability too. Edge stability. What is edge stability? Because that is going to be a big factor with this. Edge stability is basically the ability to take a really fine edge. So if we come over here, oh, I did another picture. Here's another picture I drew kind of from edge retention to wear resistance. See the little chips, and then you look at the tip, how it's like kind of jagged. That would be like wear resistance. And then the edge retention is the ability to not round off. So if I move on to this next page, I drew this little picture. So this right side would be like a regular edge. So edge stability would be the ability to make an edge like this, to lay back that angle and make the edge a lot finer, and being able to withstand and hold itself from rolling, chipping, and things like that. That would be edge stability. So if we can get, or if this steel can take a really fine, you know, low angle edge, that would, one, make it way sharper. It would have a lot more bite. It would be, you know, just way more aggressive to the feel. Like it would be, have the ability to whittle hair a lot easier and all those things. But can it withstand it without chipping, rolling, or anything like that? That's edge stability. So how is its edge stability? I don't know, right? And also I don't know about from Kaiser. I've never had Kaiser's. As far as I know, this is the first time they've used 10V is on the sheepdog, on the mini first, and now this one. So who knows if they're doing it well or not. Now, personally, I haven't experienced Kaiser really doing bad heat treats, to be honest. But you know, it's hard to say. I know they're starting to do M390s. I've sharpened some of their 20 CV. I've done some of their M390. I haven't been upset at it. I guess I wasn't like just, you know, blown out of the water, you know, like impressed, but I wasn't unimpressed, if you guys know what I mean. 75 likes, 140 watching. Please take a moment and stop and hit that like button. Thank you, Cue Ball. I appreciate that. So okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is going back to, what the hell was it? There was something else that I wanted to talk about with the 10V. Oh, so I watched a video on the edge retention for 10V, and now this I think is a low number, but it got 550 cuts, and this was from Cedric and Ada from Pete, and he's done a couple tests, but this was before he got his better system, so he was still using the LANSKY system, and it got 550 cuts before you know, going dull. That's a really good number. That's K390 numbers. Now, I do think that that's a lower number than what it could possibly do if on a better system. Not saying there's anything wrong. Oh, that's awesome. You just ordered one? Oh man, that's so awesome. Hey man, I hope you use my fucking link. I'm just joking. I actually got a link now with TS Prof. I've communicated with them. They gave me an affiliate link and all kinds of stuff. So that's really cool. But no, that's awesome, man. Good for you guys. You're gonna be really happy for sure. And also I talked to TS Prof and because I bought my system. They didn't send it to me. I know some people thought like they sent it to me or something. I bought it, but I am going to get them to send me some parts though. Christopher Hare, thank you for the 5 bones. I am right there with you on the fine edge thing. I am at the point where I am not satisfied with the edge on a knife unless I can shave with it. Right. And I know to some extent we're a little spoiled with some edges, but why shouldn't we be? If we're paying this fucking money for these high grade steels, a lot of these steels, that's kind of the beauty of them, is to have, the edge stability and edge retention and blah 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 blah. So we should be able to get these ridiculous fine edges and hopefully, if they're heat treated good, they should hold it. Now, some steels are just by default not able to do that. They're able to take a really fine edge, but they're just not able to hold it because that's just the way the steel is. In certain steels, especially certain high carbide steels, might have the ability to, and with microchipping and things like that, carbides, they're not fragile, like in a sense of being pulled out of the steel. We are realizing and learning the longer tests are being done that carbides are very hard to tear out of steel, given that it has a good heat treat. Given that it has a good heat treat and everything, carbides are very hard. So, like I was talking about last week about Tom Ho Sang doing this video. Now, I could pull up the pictures and show you guys right now, but if you look at the pictures of the K390 being sharpened and you look at the edge, and if it's done by aluminum oxide stones, you can see carbides all over the edge because the steel is being tore off around the carbides and the carbides are not being sharpened. So the carbides are just sitting there and they basically look like this. I'll just show you guys really quick. I think I drew a picture for it. I thought I did. Which it's crazy how, oh yes, I did. So, and I seen a donation. Maurice with 20 bones. The ocean is water in it. Does it though? Does it though? Thank you, Maurice. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Ooh, hitting my desk. All right. So you'll notice at the top of both these drawings, one has aluminum on it, one has diamond. So you can see which one's which. So we have the aluminum. That one would be the aluminum oxide sharpening, one would be sharpened by the diamond. So the one sharpened by the aluminum oxide, you can see the edges of it. The carbides are the round things, right? And if you look really closely, they're cracked. So the edges, the steel is being tore off around the carbides, but they're not being pulled out. Now, from them being hit with the stone, they are also cracking. Now, with diamonds, you see how they're getting sharpened. The carbides are actually being sharpened. So, carbides are incredibly strong. I don't want to say strong because they're incredibly hard, but the steel around them holds them in and bonds them very, very good. So some of these high carbide steels, it's tough to say, I think, without looking at the edge at a microscopic level of whether or not the microchipping is from the carbides or if it's just from the steel. All right. I'm not positive. Or is ocean simply another name for water? That's a good question, Tri State. I think you should think very long and hard about that one. Once my 10V sheepdog blade finish is trashed, I'm probably gonna regrind it and thin it out a bunch. Nice. Yeah, I think because of its just all the attributes it has, I think I did this one So this is one difference that I did between the K390 and the 10V. This I did at 15 degrees per side. This I did at 17 degrees per side. I am going to drop it though. I'm going to take this beast to 15 degrees per side, and we're going to see if we get any microchipping or anything rolling, whatever, right? Let's see. I want to know by the time I do the review. I don't know if I'll do a full review on it because I've done reviews on the sheepdog, but I might do a steel talk about it or something, I don't know. I've already filmed a bunch of clips of me testing both of them. I might as well make some sort of video out of it. Steel Forged in Fire. Wow, great live for you tonight, dude. Man, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hey, guys, go and follow Steel Forged in Fire. I did a live with them, just recently, actually. So go and follow his channel. Awesome guy. And I want to get him on here one of these days here pretty soon, as soon as possible. Richie was on the wrong act. Okay. I don't know what that means. Now, okay, so I want to talk about geometry just for a second. We don't have to go too much into it, but the thinness behind the edge and thicker behind the edge and things like that. I'm sorry, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I love you guys. What the hell was I talking about? Thinness behind the edge. So we are always, and I do the same thing, so I'm at fault too, right? We want thinness behind the edge, which I think, of course we do, right? Of course we want really thin edges because geometry does cut, right? And we're concentrating so much on the number of behind the edge thickness when I think even more importantly, not saying that the behind the edge thickness is not important at all. I'm not saying that. Of course it is. But I think we need to think about or want the blade geometry thinner more so than just the edge. So having, yeah, I would love to see Steel Forge and Fire here. Hopefully he can drop some sword knowledge and show how knives and swords differ in their builds. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to do that talk. So the geometry of the knife first starts off from the spine. So even if the edge is somewhat thick, if the spine and the taper is good, then the edge, it can be thick. It's not going to matter because you sharpen the edge, right? You sharpen the edge, so it's going to go down to a 0 point. That point of 0 is going to be 0 no matter what. Now, the shoulder of that edge that you put on, depending on the angle, depending on the thickness behind the edge, yada yada yada, depends on how the ability it has to bite into the materials, basically. Well, I guess not bite in the materials, but to start the pass through, right? But the geometry of the blade is what takes over the rest. So, like I said, you can have thickness behind the edge. And now, if we have, so because say with certain thinnesses behind the edge, when we start getting a little too thin, it's going to start getting fragile. And in some cases, if you want that crazy level of bite from your edge, having a blade that is a little thicker behind the edge, and I don't mean like 30, 40 thousandths thick. I'm talking about, 20 thousandths thick or less. You have the ability to lay back that angle, and the edge geometry, you can get a really long edge bevel, and it can get super sharp, like ridiculously sharp. While when some edges that are even thinner, they're very thin, yeah, they cut like a laser, but you don't really, I mean, you do get the bite, but not quite, I don't think, as much as something that is a little bit thicker. And I'm not talking about super thick. I'm talking about like the middle ground where it's going to be, like I said, like 20,000, 18,000, something like that. But if it's on a deep hollow grind that's got really good geometry, a thin blade stock, that knife's gonna cut like a champ, and you're gonna have the ability to have that a tougher edge. Well, for one, a tougher edge. You're gonna be able to have a nice big edge bevel, and I don't know, it was just something I was thinking about earlier because I noticed that when I sharpen knives that are thicker behind the edge, and I don't mean super thick, I'm just talking about, 18, 20 thousandths, they seem to take an edge that has so much more bite than some of the really thin edges I do that are like 10 thousandths behind the edge. Do I love 10 thousandths behind the edge? Yeah. But when you want to really feel the teeth in the edge, um, and like where it almost feels like it's serrated, where it just has so much bite that from my personal experience, it seems like you really get that from edges that are a little bit thicker behind the edge than if they're very, very microscopic thin. And I think it maybe has something to do with the steel being thicker at the edge, being able to hold more carbides at the edge. So it has the ability to have like I said, more carbides, more steel all wrapped around. I think that has to do with it. And if it's really thin, it doesn't have as much as that. Talika, thank you for the donation. What is 4142 steel? My axe is in that steel. I personally have no experience with that steel. I'm guessing it's super tough though. Steel forged in fire might be able to answer that, or seems logical. Maybe he's heard of swords in that steel. I haven't heard of that steel. I know, that's awesome. I do appreciate the 100 bones. Hell yeah, Maurice. Top man dropping the 100 bones is that payment for Dr. J's services. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate the donations. What the hell is that? Okay, so this is a question for you guys really quick before we continue. And I want you to really think about it because I think it's a good question. Somebody asked me this the other day, and I was kind of stumped just a little bit. And I thought about it all night. I wound up having nightmares about it and all kinds of shit. So, Kershaw bare knuckle, right? Kershaw bare knuckle, USA made, right? Super solid. These things are, they're long lasting knives. I've had this one beat the shit out of it. If I do a zoom in of this knife, it's had probably 24 edges put on it. There's scratches all over it. It's all, scuffed up around the edges. It's still super strong, super tough. A knife like this, right? So the Kershaw bare knuckle or one of Civivi's knives with the amazing geometry, great grinds, right? Super even grinds, possibly the same steel, but it's Civivi's tolerances and etc. Which one do you think would be the one to recommend more? Would you recommend the Kershaw bare knuckle over a Civivi? I know it's a tough question, right? Is the Kershaw bare knuckle better than Civivi knives? Or are Civivis better than the Kershaw bare knuckle? And I know you're like, well, which Civivi knife? Pick one. I don't care. Pick one. Is it better? Atrades says the bare knuckle. Which Civivi? I knew you were going to say that. See, I knew it. That's why I beat you to it. Pick one. I don't care which one. Doesn't matter. Because I think that this is a fucking tough question, man. And to me, like, I thought about this for a while. I could not, because I was thinking, this is the way I did it in my head, was that I'd choose the bare knuckle. Civivi is hit or miss. Q-Ball says the Praxis. G-Ball says Civivi is better. Okay, so this is where I was like stumped. Seems logical says Kershaw bare knuckle over any Civivi. I would take the Civivi Praxis over the Kershaw bare knuckle. So I was stumped because I look at this knife and I say, this is a tool. This knife is so solid. It is made to last for years. It really is. It's made to last a very long time. And it's super solid, great build, USA made, right? geometry, not the best. 20 thousandths behind the edge. I think when they first start off with the factory edge, I forget. I think they're 120,000 spine. I'm not positive, but Civivis, you got something that's maybe not as long lasting, right? Not saying they won't last a long time, but they're definitely not as tough, right? They're definitely not as tough, but they cut better and they have better geometry and their grinds are better, right? Or, you could argue which action is better, but it just, man, it holds me up because I want to say the bare knuckle just because I want to go with the home team, right? I want to go with the home team, but I can't deny Civivi's quality and fit finish, but more than anything, their geometry and grinds. They're made to cut. They really are. They definitely, there's no argument there that they're better than the Kershaw bare knuckle. But in my opinion, there's no argument that this is going to last longer. This will outlast one of those. In my opinion, 100% of the time. But when you're talking about at the time when I got this, it was $65. Fucking inflation's got it up to $90 now. Is this a $90 knife? I think so. But I don't know. It's super tough for me, man. The bare knuckle is awesome. Yeah, I think so too. But I think some of the Civivis, like the Praxis, and a bunch of other ones are really good too. That knife is just, in my opinion, it's probably, I guess this is arguable, but what's the best USA made knife under $100? Go. Name it. Best USA made knife under $100 in 2022. Nobody better say the Buck 110. Nobody is allowed to say the Buck 110. Okay? Maurice. Nobody can say the Buck 110. What is the best USA made knife under $100? Go. John says, over the last 40 years, our steel was always better than foreign steels. That's true. That up until like 5 years ago. Yeah, 100%. That was kind of the argument, was that, yeah, they'll give you that steel, but it's going to be a shit heat treat. But guess who came to the fucking game, to win? They did, because they're not doing that no more. They're doing good heat treats. Not all of them, but a lot of the companies, they stepped up to the plate. They're doing good quality heat treats, good quality grinds, and they're giving us what we want. And that's sad. It's sad. It's fucking sad, but it's just a fact that they are willing to fight for our sale more than the USA companies. And I hate saying that. It makes me want to fucking cry saying that, but it just is a fact. They literally will listen to the community and say, what do you guys want this year? Thin grinds, this steel, this material, what kind of action? Okay. And they'll give it to us. And other companies will say, we don't give a shit what you want. Hey. How did I know that would be the answer? Yeah, the bare knuckle. I think it's the bare knuckle. I personally think so. The best USA made knife under $100. I can't really think of another one that's better. I can think of like the Kershaw Leak. That's really good. The Knockout, that's a really good one, but it's fucking assisted. Chris Wolf says, I had the Praxis for many years and I am surprised what I have put it through as it still keeps on ticking. Dude, I'm not arguing that it'll last a long time. I am not arguing that it's not a super solid knife that you can abuse and be tough on. I'm not arguing that at all. I think it is. I just think that this would outlast it. That's how tough I think this knife is. Yeah. Even like, what's another one that's super, super, super fucking tough? It's not USA made, but the Rat. The Rat one. Who was it? Oh man, Blade Brigade New York did an abuse test on the Kershaw Knockout, not the bare knuckle, the Kershaw Knockout, the Rat one, and the Tenacious, and the Rat one dominated. I mean, like the other two knives broke, and the Rat one was still kicking. Like, it's crazy how tough that knife is. Yeah, that's all, but you can't say that's USA made because um over 50% is made in China. But I understand what you're saying. It is USA assembled, but majority of it though would be China, so you can't say USA made. It's got to be at least 52% to be USA made. Um, which which non-flipper sheepdog do you prefer, the titanium or the micarta? Titanium, but now that I got this 10V, man, it's going to be tough. But I do like the titanium. It just, you know, there's a big difference. This is an $80 or $90 knife, 80, 90, whatever. And that's a $200 knife. So there's a big difference in price. I would say, you know, if I was going to recommend it, I'd probably just recommend one of these because you get the super steel and it's under $100 and it's beautiful. Micarta, man. Holy shit, this micarta is good. But the titanium one is it's a titanium frame lock that's super tough, super well built, really good quality. So they're just two different beasts, I guess. But yeah, for $100 more, it's a better knife. Yeah, it is a little thicker though too. That is something you have to consider. The geometry on the liner lock ones is thinner. This geometry is better than the frame lock version. The frame lock version is a little thicker. Oh, I'm sorry, KC. Would they? All right, let me find it. I'll find it. Ask the question again, Casey, because I can't find it, and I'll get lost if I go too far into the chat. You guys don't want me doing that. I'll never come back. Tri-State says, I've been digging my 10V mini sheepdog. Solid little chewed. Yeah. I know. Like I said, I haven't really dealt with too much 10V, but once I found out, you know, that it's very similar to K390, I had to get it. I love K390. K390 is like one of my favorite steels. Now, it's not the most rust resistant, so that is something you do have to be careful with, but it's such a good steel. Like when we're talking about fine edges, right? Edges being able to take that ridiculous edge that will just like you can just look at a hair, right? Like after I sharpen this, Kara's got to be careful walking around here because she'll walk by and just be bald because this thing's so damn sharp. It just whittles hair right off her head. So I got to be careful after sharpening it. That's how fucking sharp it gets. So that's and like I said, and it holds it. That's kind of the beauty. You know what? If you guys want to see some really good steel tests and stuff, Michael Christie, he hasn't made a video in like a year or something. I don't know how long, like 10 months or something, but he's awesome, man. Such great content. He has done this community a huge amount of not only work, but tests and just, man, awesome. I mean, the community couldn't thank him enough. He's done a lot for this community when it comes to understanding edges and tests and things like that. I know he's definitely taught me a lot in my journey. I'm looking for Corey. Benjamin Kim says K390, Rex 45, and S90V are my go-to. Yeah, I like crew wear too. Throw some crew wear, some XHP on that. Bang. And some 14C. All right. I still haven't seen the question again. What's the deal with S45? I'm getting my first Chris Reeve and it is that steel, but I'm mostly used to M390, 20CV, etc. I recently got a knife with S35 and it seems pretty solid thus far. So, I like S45. S45 is a good steel. In my opinion, from my experience, it does take a better fine edge than S35. That's the one downfall, in my opinion, to S35 is it doesn't take a great fine edge. And if you do get a great fine edge on it, it doesn't last. So you don't want to put that really fine edge on it. Now, if you stick to like 600 to 1200 grit, it's super good. So S35 is awesome. I'm not saying anything bad about S35, but S45 has the ability, from my experience, to take a finer edge. So you can get those polished, really sharp mirror edges, and they seem to last okay. I can't really speak for how long they last and how long it'll hold it, but it'll take it and, at least a lot better than S35. Now, it should have a little bit better edge retention. So it's a great steel. We're really spoiled in steels. If that steel came out 10 years ago, I mean, fuck, man, it'd be insane. It's just MagnaCut came out the exact same time. And I don't have my MagnaCut sitting here, but I do want to talk about MagnaCut too, because I'll be honest, guys. I didn't say this. I don't remember if I said this or not in the video I did about MagnaCut, but I was ready to shit all over MagnaCut. I really was. And I did. It's not that I wanted to. It's not that I wanted to. It's just that I knew that there was a good chance I was going to have to, because I love Larry Thomas. I love everything they do. So, like, I have the utmost respect for him. Asa, thank you for the donation, Asa. Did you see the Oz Roosevelt that dropped yesterday in MagnaCut? No, I did not. That's awesome. Fuck yeah. I did not see that. That's amazing though. So the MagnaCut though, I was ready to shit all over it because I know from experience before that sometimes things get hyped and screamed about, and then my experience is the opposite. And I wasn't willing to just say what everybody else was saying about it. I couldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't been able to sleep at night. So I was prepared to do my tests and come out and just be like, listen, this is not a steel for folders. It's really tough. It's really good for this. It's really good for that, but it's not good for, taking a good fine edge that we want and all that bullshit. But then I fucking tested it and holy shit, I love it. I really do. I love that steel. Um, it's a steel. If I had more experience with it, I could possibly be saying that I love it more than K390. Right now, I can't say that, but it's good. It's really good. It takes a ridiculous fine edge, and it seems to hold it really well. Um, it's wait, I did get a little bit difference though between the Spydercos and the tactiles though. So that does lead me to believe that either one, it's a little bit different heat treat protocol, which I can't say that for sure. I don't know. It could have everything to do with geometry, because we always got to remember geometry is a big factor. And the geometry from the Spyderco Mule to the tactile there's 9-day difference. So it's possibly just the geometry, but damn it, man. That mule, like, that thing took such a good edge, and it was so sharp. Like, it's on another level of sharpness, kind of like you get K390 or crew wear, and it held it really good. I didn't experience any microchipping. It's such a good deal. $80 for 10V. What? And you gotta also think, and really good quality USA made micarta. Fuck. Do you guys remember five years ago, micarta, how much it was to get micarta on knives? We were all begging for micarta. We were so sick of carbon fiber, but in order to get micarta, it was like, oh, well, it's an extra $50. Kaiser has literally matched the price. So all their G10 and their micarta are the same price. Now, I don't know if they raised the price of their G10 or if they dropped the price of their micarta, but either way, they're the same damn price, which 5 years ago, we could not say. 5 years ago, to get this quality of micarta, it was unheard of, especially for under a large, large chinga. I didn't mean to hit that one. Stasa says, I still haven't had to sharpen my Creeley Mako in MagnaCut, and that's after testing. I am testing the MBKC outer in MagnaCut now. Nice. Yeah, I have no doubt, Stasa, no doubt you're going to fucking love it. Like, after me doing the testing I did, you know what I mean? Like, when you get some of those steels There's some that, you know, you kinda, like, have that kinda thought, like, "Yeah, it's good," you know, and but it's not, like, something that you're, like, excited about. I actually got excited about that steel, not from the stories, but I'm talking about from my experience, from testing it. I tried to go into it with no thought, like, liking it, disliking it, or anything, but after I sharpened it, oh, man, I was in love because it just took such a ridiculous edge, and I did, what was it, 4 edges altogether. A toothy edge, a fine edge, and then a toothy edge and a fine edge. And what I was mostly testing, because I didn't test edge retention, right? I know that steel has good edge retention. I don't have to test that. I already know it does. That wasn't the question or the thing I gave a fuck about in my test. My test was how well can it take a fine edge? Can it hold a fine edge? Does it take toothy edges better? And when you have you know, that whether it's a toothy edge or a fine edge, you know, but the fine edge that it gets. So even if it's a toothy edge, you guys know what I mean. Like the edge you come off the stone with, right? The extremely sharp edge. How long does it hold that? How, like, does it, you make a few cuts and it starts feeling not that sharp anymore? Or does it seem like it holds the bite that it comes off the stone with? That was basically what I was testing. And a lot of steels like toothy or fine, one of the two, right? With that, either one was good, both of them. The toothy edge did just as good as the fine edge. Both of them were ridiculously sharp, and both of them held really good. Now, the tactile did not hold its fine edge as good as the mule, but I think that was all geometry. I really do. I don't think it had anything to do with heat treat or anything. I think it was seriously just all geometry, because geometry is such a big factor with everything. But yes, Stasa, I think, yeah, you're gonna love it. And pause. I'm at 990. Need 10 great folks to come over here so I can pop this giveaway. Get your asses over there to Blades and Fades. Subscribe to his channel. He's at 990 followers. Let's help get him monetized and help get him to 1,000. And then you guys can enter his awesome giveaway. I'm guessing it's tomorrow if you guys go over there and follow him. So please go over there and give him a follow. I know he would appreciate it. And then he can do this damn giveaway. Friedman says, oh, he's talking to Cue Ball, not me. So I guess I can't read it. Starburst for the win. Okay. Fucking Starburst. My full-size micarta sheep and roach has suddenly had terrible lock stick. This happened to anyone else? So some of the sheepdogs had that, and I think it was because, so some of their liner lock sheepdogs had lock rock, just a little tiny bit. So I think in order for them to prevent it, they made it tighter. And some of them a little too tight. Now, I felt them where they're snug, but not quite like stick where you're like popping the lock. If it's just snug, I wouldn't worry about it. Just let it break in. Like if it's just like where when you undo it, it's just snug in there and you know, but it's not like sticking and making a noise, just leave it. But you can take it apart and you can very lightly sand down the lock bar. Just take off a tiny bit so that the stick will go away. Give it a little bit cleaner surface too, and you can do that too. You could also just take it apart, clean the surface really good, maybe scuff up the top of the lock bar, give it a clean surface. It'll probably go right away, and it might not even be anything but dirt or you know stuff getting in between the lock face and the lock bar. Mo Reese with the 5 bounce. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Maurice is killing it tonight. Bama Knife Guy's in the house. What's up, Bama? What the fuck is going on up here? Thank you, brother. Thank you for joining us. Bama, when the hell are you coming back to the show is the question. Everybody's been dying, saying, when the fuck is Bama coming back on? When is Bama coming back on? Oh, here, Blades and Fades. Right there is the link. Cue Ball put it in the chat. make sure you guys go and follow his channel. We'll drop it in the chat a couple more times, maybe, Cue Ball, if you could do that, so people keep seeing it. Let them see it 2 or 3 times. Oh, come on. A lot of talk about the sheepdog tonight, and love for the sheepdog XL or something to avoid. The sheepdog XL is awesome. It's just, it's a big fucking knife. I mean, it's massive. It's a beast, but you see the difference here. I mean, this is a lot more EDC-able. So it's a badass knife, but it's not practical. I think it'd be a great recycling knife or a great cleaver. You could definitely mess some shit up, but listen to this. Music to my ears. But yeah, the sheepdog is an awesome knife. It really is. I like it a lot, especially now that they have the whole version. They also have the flipper and whole version combination where you have a removable flipper tab. That was a great idea. I think a lot of knives should do that. Have a removable flipper tab where you have the option to have 2 forms of deployment or just one. Because if you have bigger hands, like with the sheepdog, if you have the removable flipper tab, you can take the flipper tab off and now you have the option to put your finger there. If the flipper tab's there, you're pushed back to here. So it's nice having the option. I seen the 5 bones. I seen the 5 bones. Maurice is always dropping them bones. Sounds like we are going to talk about spine whacking. I wasn't gonna, but we can. Yes, visit Bama Knife Guy also. Hopefully he's gonna start making more content soon. And he's definitely gonna be coming back on the channel soon. Me and him are talking about it right now. We're gonna set something up, and we are going to do a sharpening talk slash knife talk, sharpening talk, but we've already talked about this. We're going to go mostly into sharpening stones, steels, edges, geometry, and stuff like that. And we're going to do a whole live all about that shit. I think not only will that make a great live because he loves to sharpen too. Me and him started like sharpening at the same time. So we've had, a lot of similar experiences or difference in experiences. So it'd be great for us to just sit down and shoot the shit about that. All right. Next subject. All right. Great question for you guys. Now, this one goes to you guys. What is the new pinnacle? What is the new knife pinnacle? And really think about it. Don't just spew some shit out of your ass. If you were going to think about 2022, what is today's new pinnacle knife? Now, back in the day, it was the Sebenza, right? The Sebenza was kind of the pinnacle knife. You know, everybody had to try a Sebenza. I think the Sebenza still stands firm, still holds a great spot. But I would say in 2022, there might possibly be a new pinnacle knife. And if you had to say the knife, and maybe it is still the Sebenza, and if you think it is, say it. But what is unobtainable? You can't name something unobtainable. What is the new 2022 pinnacle knife that everybody needs to try or should have in their collection or whatever, or maybe experience to see this is what a fucking good knife feels like. This is what a badass knife feels like, whatever. What is that knife in 2022? Oh, we got, oh, I accidentally clicked the wrong one. We got the hardest EDC says the Shiro. Which one? Cue Ball says the Shiro Goroff F3 or FN3. Shane says the Evo 3.0. Um, Rofmo says, congrats to Blades and Fades. Guessing he hit it. Awesome. I'm glad he hit it. Nice. Congratulations, Blades and Fades. Q1 Fiend says Orashuro. Demco 8020. Deacon says the Oz. Okay. The Roosevelt. Oh, damn it. I hate when this thing jumps like that. 8020 Slim in MagnaCut when it drops. When it gets here. Custom EDC Knife says, Neevesknives, you should get Big Brown Bear on the channel about sharpening and knife steels. He has some amazing knowledge. Absolutely. I would anytime he wants to. I know he's a busy guy. I might have spoke about it a little bit in one of his lives with him. I don't remember, but I've spoken with him in his lives, and I would love to get him on. Definitely, but I think he's just too busy. Individual, one specific knife. Like before, to everybody, it was the Sebenza 21. At least when I joined the community, that's what it was. The Sebenza 21 was the pinnacle. Even with Hinders and Medfords, the 21 was like the pinnacle. Like that was the knife to have. Everybody needs to have or experience a Sebenza 21. It's a work knife, it's a tool. It's you could feel what precision felt like and good tolerances and just a well-built knife. Now, I do think it does take you to own one to actually understand that. I think just getting it in hand after feeling some of these knives that are just like so smooth, they're like crazy. You have to own one to really understand. And I think you also have to be a knife user. I think if you're just a knife fidgeter, you're not going to respect it as much as if you are a user. The Oz Roosevelt is pretty hot right now. That's true. It really is. 2022 is going to be the Grunger. What the fuck is that? Things never go off track with me, Bama. Knife Modder says right now, I'd say 2022 is the year of the small knife company. We're looking for the new CR. Excuse me. We're looking for the new CRK. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. I think that we're looking right now for the new Sebenza, the new pinnacle. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. What possibly could be the new Sebenza. And I'm not saying Sebenza, couldn't come out with something, but they've held champion for just too many years in a row, right? And now I think it's time that in 2022, because let's be real, man, they're not on bearings, and I'm not saying all knives have to be on bearings. I love that they're on washers, but I do think that in 2022 we are able to do such good tolerances and everything that there's no excuse why a knife like this couldn't be on bearings. Garrett says the Elementum. Just kidding. EMP, EDC, Nimble, or the Nimble XL. Oh, guys, I got something to show you. I'll bust it out for you. Koenig Arius. That is a great one, but it's kind of obtainable. But let's be real, it's not. It's not. I think we have to stay in a price range, right? 500 and less. Because if it's over $500, it's not really obtainable to most people. Most people are not going to fucking drop more than $500 on a pocket knife. I'm not saying that it's stupid to do that. I'm just saying, think about those words. Over $500 for a pocket knife. I love it, right? I love it, but I also understand what it does to some people's ears. Some people are like, that's how much my car cost, right? Or they're saying like, I got a brand new washer and dryer that costs less than that. Maybe not that, but you guys know what I'm saying. Bama says, Sebi, hard to beat, man. Hard to beat. Yeah, the Sebi is hard to beat. The Benzo's hard to beat. but I think it's gonna get beat. Like the Roosevelt is a great example. The Roosevelt is fucking killer, man. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys this. I'm gonna catch up to the chat because I'm way behind. I am reading through a lot of your guys's what you guys said. I see we got Spanky says MBK. Um, Still going with the sea otter. I see a lot of great answers. Almighty Shiro F3NS. The Shiros are great. They really are. They are amazing. But I think that's one of those unobtainable ones again, though. It's too much money to be the pinnacle. All right, you guys ready for this? Are you guys ready? We have the new production. Hold on a second, let me get this off. Knife design done by Best Tech, designed by, well, you know what? Why don't you guys name this knife? What knife is this? What knife is that? That's finally in the the production prototype. 123 forms of deployment, especially if you got imagination. We even got a fuller, so you can reverse flick down. And lefties, this is super easy. This is crazy good. Look at this. On the lock bar. On the lock bar. Bang. So you got the flipper. Did any of you guys name it yet? Oh, I see Tri-State got it. Somebody might have got it before him, but the gripper. We got a front flipper, reverse flicking fuller, and a deployment hole. Yeah, buddy. I'll say this right now. And no disrespect to anybody who got the custom. No disrespect at all, because a custom's a custom. It is what it is. This is better. This is better. It really is. It just is what it is, man. It's a production knife done by a big company, or I don't want to say big, but a good company. So they have the ability to hit everything, right? Everything is done so well on this. This feels high end. Something like a handmade custom, yes, it's great. And you got to respect that a human hand did all that. But it's very difficult for a human hand to compete with the levels of CNC. It's great. Nice deep hollow ground blade, nice and thin behind the edge. Beautiful satin finish, man. Let's check it out. I'll do my first impressions tomorrow, so I don't want to say too much. I do have a couple complaints, but you know, I complain a lot, so it's okay. That action though, really nice. Very, very cool. So that was your guys' look at the Grieber. 99% of the time. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the custom versus production, I mean, yeah, most custom makers, especially if they're doing handmade work, they're not going to be able to compete with CNC. Now, there are a few, there's a handful of gents out there that can compete. You're going to fucking pay for it. That's for damn sure. You're going to pay for it out the ass, because you don't get that level of quality, because that's not something that comes easy. That means that they have years under their belt of experience, and you got to pay for that years of experience. Damn it, Jared, stop pulling out these frags on me. I had somebody ask me the other day, and I don't have the penguin, the QSP penguin, but somebody asked me, which one? The Frag Kaiser mini bag lighter and M390 with the hollow ground drop point blade with the titanium frag, or the QSP Penguin, in the titanium frag. Now, I have to say the QSP. And the reason why, even though this is so good, it really is. This is amazing. It really is. But the Penguin is a little thicker and a little bit bigger in the right ways, that makes it way more comfortable in the hand. And I think that that does a lot for that knife. They both have amazing thumb set action. This thing is crazy smooth, crazy drop shutty. This definitely has better geometry. But I think the Penguin would last longer. Again, you know, it's like one of those things where I don't know. I can't be positive on that, but I would personally, if I was going to recommend one, I would recommend that one, even though this one has M390. But Jared, does no, that's it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Let's try it one more time, but I don't think so. No. That's a custom ting. You know, hey, if you want the ting, you gotta pay for it, and then you're paying custom then. But no, you don't have the ting with it. Not at all. Let me see if I can keep my fingers off the lock bar if it'll do it. No. No ting, but it is more solid, no stick, steel lock bar insert. It is refined all the way across the board, all the way around it. Better. Every piece of this is better than the other one. And I don't mean, like I said, that's not knocking what the custom one is. It just is what it is. You know, one is done by hand and one is done with CNC. Yes, sir. I do too. I carry and use $500 knives every day too, but I don't expect to tell somebody the pinnacle knife that everybody has to own and try and use and this and that is $800, right? I'd rather be able to say, listen, the pinnacle knife that everybody needs to experience and own. That's like the, you know, the pinnacle is 400 bucks, 350, something like that. I feel better about that. You know, like quiet carry prices or tactile turn prices, maybe even Sabenza prices. I know we got inflation, FJB. But yeah, I just think the Sabenza, somebody's gonna have to take. Eventually, Sabenza's got to, you know, they've got to back up a little bit and just give it up. And I think they're gonna do some in MagnaCut too. They're doing S45 VN now, which okay, that's cool. I would say this about any company though. It's not about the steel they're using. It's about the heat treat they're doing. So I don't give a shit if you're doing S35, S45, or MagnaCut. I give a fuck about how good you're doing the heat treat. And if the companies are just, you know, deciding to use blank steel because the market wants it rather than saying we are going to perfect this heat treat, because let's be honest, they CRK does not run their S35VN very hard. It's compared to a lot of other companies, they run it soft, to be honest. They really do. They're not very hard. So what are they doing with their S45? I'm not saying they're doing it bad. I've heard other people say that, but I'm not saying that. I don't know. I've sharpened some of them. It felt okay, but it's possible that they're running it the same way they're doing their S35. I don't know. Sweet knife modders, I got one I need to send your way soon for some work. Gotta get that work. Oh, somebody block him. I'm just joking. All right. All right. All right. All right. There's been a few super limited Sabenzas and MagnaCut. I think like 4 total. No shit. Only 4? Hmm. I wonder if they're gonna do more. Ooh, I got a little chip in my edge. Ooh, I got a decent chip. Huh. I need to redo this one. They sold a handful of MagnaCut Sabenzas at Blade Show last year, didn't they? They sold out to dealers or something. Huh. I mean, if they had the ability to run all MagnaCut, I would say do it. I mean, from my experience with MagnaCut, but we'll see. And I know a lot of people, because it is with certain steels, you know, we look at it and we say that's a super tough steel, right? Like it's not for pocket knives. you can't look at it like that. You have to look at it with the other like attributes. Stain resistance, right? We already know it's crazy good. Edge retention, really good, right? So two things checked off. The third thing, it's fine edge and fine edge holding and edge stability, which it is very good. So right there, in my opinion, means it's a phenomenal steel for pocket knives. Now, I like K390. I fucking love it. Crew wear, fucking love it because of those same reasons. Now, what are the downfalls? It's not that stainless, right? K390 is okay, but it's not that great. So acid test what? Acid test kids. Asher's using real. Yeah, Asher's using real M390. It's been tested. Kids tested, mother approved. Harvey's a douche canoe. A canoe made out of douche. Knife Electric says Knife Center got one of them, had a carbon fiber show scale and a ladder Damascus inlay. Nice. Man, I like carbon fiber, but I'll tell you what, man, I'm kind of just over regular carbon fiber. If I'm gonna do carbon fiber these days, I want it to be the fat carbon or crosscut. If it's crosscut or fat carbon, then I'm all good with it. But regular carbon fibers, I'm just done with it. Like I'd rather have micarta. I know carbon fiber's tougher. I know carbon fibers everything better. It's superior. I just like micarta better. Micarta's the shit. Cue ball with the 10 bones. Thank you for the money, bro. Please don't forget to support Knives Fast KC and Tempest Knives Mach 1 Kickstarter. Here is the link. Definitely go and show him some support. You can either leave a donation to help fund his Kickstarter and make his dreams come true, or you could support the Kickstarter by getting yourself a knife so he can make them, because he's not going to be able to fund this project and bring those knives out to the market without everyone's support. So please go and check it out at the very least. Go and look at it, watch some reviews, and go and check the site out. I think it'd be I know it would make his year for sure. So please at least just go look at it at the very least. And like I said, you don't have to fund the whole thing. If you just don't mind kicking in $10, $5, even $1, man, it all adds up. So it'd be a blessing for him to be able to do that. Steve, look into the Kershaw Dividend on eBay or the Kershaw Cryo and G10. You can find them on eBay for $30 and $50. One is USA made and one isn't. Yeah, they got some good USA made Kershaw. Let's check this micarta out. Look at this micarta. Look at this USA micarta on this little urban buoy. 154 C. Come on. 154 CM. You can see I've already been fucking using it. Great micarta, man. This is really good quality micarta. I knew it was going to be too. I could tell by looking at it before I ever even got it. And that's why when I first seen it, I started harassing Kaiser, saying, man, you got to start putting that stuff on other knives. Like you're putting it on all the knives I don't care about. Put it on like the sheepdog and, the bag lighters and like the good knives that everybody wants to see it on. Stop putting it on knives I don't like. We got the Manganus design. The Gracioso. This thing is so good, guys. So good. Stupid smooth. The detent is really good. This is shred carbon fiber. Again, I wish it was micarta, but whatever. The titanium is a blasted titanium similar to Sebenza's. $20 CV. I know the sites say S35. It's $20 CV. I'm not sure what the price is going to be on them yet, but they're damn good. Look at this thing. Whoo, it seems like guillotine for sure. Right out of the box of guillotine. And it's got a ramp. I forgot to mention that in the unboxing. It has a detent ramp. So right there's the detent. Here's the liner lock version. This one didn't have a ramp though. So if you hit the detent, it's not bad to get past it though. It's easy to get past. But this was good micarta too. This is kind of a linen micarta. This is good stuff too. But this stuff is more like it's almost like a leather. It's not the kind of micarta that ages or patinas. This stuff definitely has more patinaing aspects to it. Breeze, do you have a story in mind? I got a good one tonight. I have one I heard last night from a dog named Mad. You were involved. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I'd love to hear that story. Which one was that one? I know who you're talking about. I actually talked to him the other day on the phone. He called me up. But yeah, I do got a really good story for tonight. Oh, it's story time. You guys haven't even been telling me. Let me know what that story is. Maybe I can remember it. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's get into this story. So, there's going to be parts I'm not going to be able to tell the full details, so you guys are just going to have to follow along, right? You guys will get what I'm saying, whether I use it in slang or if I don't have to say everything. You guys will follow along, I'm sure. And Breeze will know the people I'm talking about because he'll know locations and everything. But why do you not dig K390, Jay? I love K390. You're not talking to me, though. You're probably talking to Jay Friedman or something, because I love K390. What's up, Sergeant? Man, you missed a good live today. Maybe he's been here the whole time. I don't know. Shout out to Knife Sergeant. Get your asses over there and go follow his channel. So, Maurice with the 5 bones again. He can tie his own. Maurice, congratulations, man. He finally learned how to tie his shoes. I told you, if you just didn't give up, it would happen. And look at you now. Look at you now. Look at you. That's amazing. Good for you. Good for you. Now make sure you double knot your loopes. We don't want anything bad happening. Thank you for the donation. All right, so this story is about the first time I was, how can I put this into words that don't sound too bad? The first time I was recruited by the family to go and put a hurting on somebody, right? So what had happened was so somebody in the family that's really close to the family, they had a location, a shop, and people that went to a high school were allowed to park there, right? So these people that were in the shop, they would gamble and things like that and make bets. And they had a billboard on the wall. Stassa! I got recruited by the family in Italy. Thank you, Stassa. A shout out to Stassa 23. I know you guys are already following this channel, because if you guys are not, you guys are just, I don't even know what's wrong with you. So just to escape embarrassment, go and double check and make sure you are still following Stassa 23. So they had a board on the wall where they had money pinned, right? And this money was from like some bet that went on through the week, whatever, some gambling shit. And these kids, I call them kids, but they weren't kids. They were, probably 17, 18 or something like that. I was around the same age. So, between 16 and 18, right? And they were too. They, since they were allowed to park across the street at this shop, walk to the school, they sometimes would walk in there for whatever reason, right, and say what's up or something like that. I don't know why they would ever walk in there, but the point is that they did this day, and the money from gambling was pinned on the wall. Well, it got stolen. So it got stolen, and I'll get to the donations in 1 second. So it got stolen, and they knew that it was them. They knew right away it was them, especially the next few days because they didn't park across the street, which was a normal thing. So obviously they did it right. So I got a call to come and talk to them, and they, told me the story, told me what happened, and they basically wanted me to take care of it, right? Wanted me to take care of it. I was underage, they were underage, but this was like the first time I was asked to do something like this to that extent, right? Like I had other little times, but not, there was, I guess, more innocent. Anyways, so I guess it wasn't the first time, but to me, it was like the first real time. Anyways, so I wasn't going to the school anymore. I dropped out, and but I was driving, and I knew people that were. So I contacted somebody that was in the school, and I told them to get that person and tell them that you had a ride home. So that day, me and one of my buddies, we went to the high school, and showed up, and got the dude just like I requested, and they got in the back seat. Right. Well, dude doesn't know why I'm there. He has no idea why I'm there, what I'm there for, or anything like that. So I start driving, and he thinks I'm bringing him home. So let me take a hit. So I'm driving, and I can't remember if I started like asking him questions about it or how it went, but eventually it got out that I'm not taking you home. Like, and I started saying shit. I scared the shit out of this kid. I started telling him that I started talking to my friend. I started saying shit like, hey man, where's a good cornfield? Right? Where's a good cornfield we can go to? And dude realized in that moment, because then I revealed it and I said it just straight up like, hey, you guys stole from somebody that I'm connected to, and now you got to fucking pay for it. Right. Um, and obviously you probably don't have the money in your pocket. And even if you did, I'm still going to slap the fuck out of you for doing it. But the point is that I was driving, and dude's getting terrified now because now I'm going out to like secluded areas. Right. I'm somewhat fucking with him. So, but he starts telling me about the dude that actually did it, technically, because he technically was just like a friend of him and was getting a ride with him and was there. He was with him. And I knew the guy that actually did it, who owned the car, was probably the one who actually did it, but I wasn't positive because they were together. So it was two guys. Anyways, so he starts telling me about the dude. Oh, he did it. It wasn't me, blah, 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 all the bullshit, Probably, who knows? He probably wasn't lying. He was probably telling the truth. But so but yeah, I'm not gonna go too much deeper into the story, but yeah, so he scared the shit out of him into telling where his buddy was, how to find him, where he lived, and all the little details to catch up to him next, because for them stealing the money. And it wasn't even about the money at the end. Like when I was asked to do it, it had nothing to do with the money at that point. It wasn't like get the money back. It was, it was like make them pay for it type of thing. And I was young, I was underage, so they were underage, so it only made sense that I would do it, right? So but it was funny though. Like the part that's funny is, driving off, and the dude, saying like, "Oh, you're passing my road." So you ain't going home. You're not going home today, boy. Where's a good cornfield at? And yeah, he was so terrified. But no, I didn't hurt the kid. I wound up letting him go, and just scared the shit out of him, and went and found his friend. because it was really all on his friend. It wasn't really on him. Technically, the one that was responsible was the one that owned the car and was allowed to park where they parked, and he was just, tagging along. So, and I found that out after, during all that, during, I guess, the interrogation. But anyways, um I'm the feral boy from Illinois. Anyways, next story. Let's talk about something else now. Um, I was actually gonna tell the original story I was gonna talk about was when I got caught on the run with a warrant. And I had a warrant for failure to appear or something like that, but I didn't want to get locked up because I didn't want to get locked up. Right? Who wants to get fucking locked up? So I had been running for not that long, a couple, few months, but I had already ran from them a few times, and they were really hot after me, like big time. And actually, Kara's involved in this one. Kara was actually driving, and we made a turn at a light heading towards where I live. And I don't know why they might have been like following, stalking, and watching, and figured out what type of car I would be in or whatever. But and they wind up pulling Kara over. So they pull Kara over, and they come up to the car and they're asking, questions, right? Well, then they look at me, and like, cause I'm just being quiet, right? Um, they ask me my name. I'm not giving up my name. Like, I don't have to, like, because you didn't pull me over, right? You didn't pull me over, so I have no reason to give you my name. Well, that was my argument. And they kept asking, like, well, what do you have, a warrant or something? Why won't you tell us your name? I was like, I don't have to tell you my name. Like, why are you even fucking talking to me? You didn't pull me over. And so then he starts trying to harass me. Well, then I pulled out the card because he's like, you have to show me your ID. And I was like, no, I don't. I was like, that's against the law. I said, is your, and I started asking him stupid questions, which, don't get me wrong. Listen, I know I'm the bad guy in this story, guys. I'm 100% aware of that. I'm the bad guy in all these stories. Anyways, um, I told the fucking cop, I said, I said, "What is this, Nazi Germany?" I said, "Is your fucking your camera on?" I said, "Make sure that fucker's on, because I want them to see you right now trying to violate my rights and all shit." Because technically it was, he's not allowed to do that. And he just looked at me and goes, "Okay." He walks away, and I'm thinking like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have fucking said that shit, because now he's gonna make me sit there till tomorrow if it takes. He's gonna go through every single mugshot that he can in order to find out who the fuck I am, because now it just makes me look even worse." So he does that. And I sit there for about an hour probably with him behind us, in his car, just going through. They wind up taking care of getting her in the SUV, trying to interrogate her to find out what my name is. She tells him my name's Little Pumpkin or some shit. I don't remember. Something weird. And they finally found my warrant. Right. They find my warrant, they see my face, they say, "Oh, there he is." All right. So they come up to the door. And I already knew I was fucked at this point. Like, he's not coming back to the car until he figures out who I am. Like, and if I didn't have a warrant, it wouldn't have been a big deal. If I didn't have a warrant, eventually I would have been able to walk away, regardless of me not handing him my ID. That doesn't matter. That's not illegal. So, but what is illegal is the warrant I had, right? I had a warrant. So no matter what, he eventually was going to find my warrant. So I just knew, it's like, man, and I started like looking around, like, can I get away? Could I make it? Like, I'm weighing out my options. Like, if I open this door, right, they're gonna start chasing right away. So it's like, how much time do I got? How fast can I open this door and get my legs out? Do I have to hop out the window? Like, I'm exercising the options in my mind of what I'm gonna do. But I boiled it down to, I can't get away. I'm fucked. So I waited till he found my name, He walks up to the car, says, "Step out of the car, Jared." He knew my name, and I was just like, "All right, fuck it, you got me. All right, you got me." And I always said this, all the times I ran, if they ever got me, I gave up. I didn't ever give them an excuse to shoot me or beat the fuck. Not saying they didn't beat the fuck out of me a couple times, but I never pushed it to the point to where they had to. Maybe when I was like really young, there was a couple things I did I don't think I've ever talked about, but that really doesn't count. Evolved EDC with the 5 phones. If anyone is looking for a McNee's Mac 2 3.5 Smoky Mountain Knife Works, should still have one. Bang. Thank you for the donation, Evolved. I appreciate that. Trying to help you guys out with a McNee's custom. Awesome knives. I seen another donation. But remember, guys, I'm not glorifying any of these stories. I'm not trying to make them sound cool or make me sound cool or anything like that. I completely realize and understand that I was the bad guy in these stories, and it's just stories, and I'm just saying what happened. I'm not trying to make them sound cool, make myself sound cool, or anything like that. I feel bad for a lot of the things I did, and they were bad. And I realized like I was the bad guy, and I know that. So it's not like I'm trying to justify some of the things or say they were right or anything like that. I'm saying that they were wrong, and I was definitely the bad guy. Maurice Truman was a good president. Thank you for the bones, Maurice. 5 bones to be exact. I appreciate it. Uh Neevesknives, you're 100% right. You do not have to speak to the police. Fuck no, you don't. I never. Well, unless if I like under certain circumstances, I will, but for the most part, I don't. For the most part, I won't talk to him at all. Like it's. I try now. Like if I have to talk to the police I'm always polite. Other people might not say that. Other people like because like Kara, like if we're ever by the cops, she's always worried because like I've been a dickhead so many times. My big thing is just don't violate my rights. But I've had many cops where they're cool with it. Like they understand, a person doesn't want to get their rights violated because you're trying to do that. So it's kind of like the one story I was talking about a couple weeks ago. And somebody winds up taking and leaving some shitty comment afterwards. This is after the live is over. He fucking goes and gets my record or some of my record and puts it in the chat, right? Like I didn't care about that. I didn't delete it. I left it, whatever. But almost like, and I got you. Like, oh man, look at what you've done, right? Oh, you've been a bad boy or whatever. That's what he said. But and then he basically like saying like that, well, the cops had the right to do that because I was a criminal, right? It's like that's not how that works. Cops can't violate your rights because you're a criminal. That's not how that works. Like, and that's why that story, like, at the end of the story was that I got everything thrown out of court. The judge even deemed that I, was in the cop was in the wrong. So if I'm in the wrong, that's one thing, but the cop isn't allowed to do something illegal to get me, all right? Like violating your rights, right? Like there is a line of which then they it's not violating your rights if you do certain things because now it's justifiable. But if they don't have, a justified reason, then like kind of like with the ID thing, right? They didn't pull me over. That's a traffic violation. That's not a crime. It's a traffic violation. That's a ticket. You don't have to get the passenger's information in order to write the driver a ticket. Asking the passenger's information is a violation of their rights. If they want to give up the information, they can, but they don't have to. That's not how that works. Now, the cop can come up with some lies and say he's fearing for his safety and you need to step out of the car. That's lawful. They can do that. But in court, he's going to have to justify that. And that's why a lot of times they don't try to pull that card because they know if shit goes south and they go to court, the judge is going to throw everything out because they're going to say, why'd you pull him out? Like, why were you fearful of your life? Like, they're gonna make them justify why they were fearful of their life. And if they can't justify it, then they have no reason to pull you out of the car or to ask you your name, especially. I remember being in the subway and a cop asked me if I had a second. I calmly said, no, not really, and kept walking. He said, have a nice day. I was telling Kara a story the other day. I was in this neighborhood, bad neighborhood, shitty neighborhood. And I was walking up to it was a project, so it was a bunch of apartment buildings. And I was at the last building going up these little steps, concrete steps, like 5 steps with a railing, right? And there's the door. Well, I'm about to knock on the door, but all of a sudden I hear the cops. Like I hear the radios, I hear all the bullshit, and I like look and I can see like I'm half surrounded. And I don't want the guy to open the door now. Like it's not a good place, right? Like I don't need to bring the cops to his house. That would have been bad on me. So I stopped what I was doing and made it seem like I'm about to leave. He asks me some stupid question, some weird question. And like I'm thinking they're coming, like they're trying to get me. So like I just turn around and like I see them like surrounding me, and then dude's just like, hey, did you call us or something like that? Did you call the police? And once he said that, I realized like I'm in the clear, but I need to get the fuck out of here. Like I don't want to answer any more questions. So and then he said, I didn't answer that yet. And he goes, there was a noise complaint. And I fucking pointed over across like just the opposite way I was going because I knew where my car was, and all I could think of was I need to get to my car and get away. That's all I want to do. Because where I'm at is a bad place, and those cops are not going to do me any good if they stop me. So I just pointed and said, "No, it was those guys." And I fucking started beelining towards my car. So the cops, they all like look over at the place, but by the time they look back at me, I'm already fucking halfway down the thing, like getting in my car. Like I did it fast. Like it was such a fast movement. Like it was, if you've seen it, it would be funny, but I guess, you had to be there. Um, just being in the moment, like afterwards, I remember laughing my ass off. Like that is so funny. Like these fucking cops. I kind of did the, um, what's that? And then you dip, like kind of like one of those. And next thing they knew, they could just hear my tires squealing out the alley. The one time you helped a cop answer questions, maybe your first trip to jail. So true. I've seen a girl do a sobriety test perfectly and still get cuffed. Yeah, I've seen it so many times. 100%. Well, I've been arrested unjustifiably. I've been arrested for nothing. I've had all kinds of shit happen. But, those, they don't wind up on your record or anything like that because the judge deems it unjustifiable, or they just drop it. So like if you get locked up and when you go to court the next day, you're just let out. So they can fucking do whatever they want. What sucks is when they get you for something, and they get you for something small just to fuck with you. Like I've had that shit happen. But yeah, you don't want to talk to cops for sure. I've told this story before where I was in an interrogation room and the cop handed me something trying to get me to put my fingerprints on it. And I knew he was trying to do that. I knew it. Luckily my old man always taught me, like, how to act around this and like what to do and what not to do. So he brings in this. Well, first of all, he's asking me all these questions about like pawning some shit or something. And he brings up stuff that I actually did bring to this place. But then he tags on something that I had never seen. I honestly never seen it. Like know nothing about it. Like honestly. And I was like, no, I don't know what that is. And he's like, oh, really? Well, we have you on camera turning it in. I was like, prove it. I said, show me. Well, he says, okay, walks out. Never brings back a camera, never shows me anything, right? Comes back with the item and tries handing it to me. And I just, put my arms like this. And he's like, well, here, look at it. I was like, I can see it from here. I don't need to hold it. I can tell you right now, I've never seen that thing in my life. I've never touched that thing, never seen that thing. He's like, well, just look at it. Right. And he's trying to get me to grab it, put my prints on it, and then he can take it and say, well, we got your prints. You know, I knew that's what was happening. But when I refused to touch it, now he had nothing left. He didn't have me on camera turning it in. He didn't have no paperwork of me signing turning it in. And now he doesn't have my fingerprints on it. So they had to let me go. But they were fighting tooth and nail to pin me for something I had never even seen before. And they had me in that interrogation room for like 3 hours over this shit. Maybe even longer than that. I don't even know how long. Because they try to, when they get you in there, they first they try to get you to talk. Then if you won't talk, they leave you in there and turn down the air, or turn on the air, or turn up the heat. One of the two. When you go into an interrogation room, man, it's fucked up. They will make you freeze, and they'll, like, if they know, like, if you have a coat and a jacket and stuff, they'll tell you things like you can't have a jacket on in here. Like, it's for your own protection. And they'll take your jacket, they'll take your sweater and make you go in there with a t-shirt, your undershirt, whatever, a wife beater, literally. And then you're sitting there and they'll turn on the air, turn off the heat, and you will be in there fucking trembling like crazy, just trying to get you to talk. And they can leave you in there for who knows how long. I think they can hold you up to 24 hours or something, but it's crazy. I've had them do that to me a few times. A lot of cops think they're above everyone and everything. They push the boundaries of the laws and go past the boundaries many times, scoundrels. Yeah, but just vice versa, you can understand it, you understand it from both aspects. It's hard to say that they're doing any. I mean, not saying like the ones that are like real shitheads and doing real shit. Like obviously, like I hate that stuff. I've dealt with them a bunch of times, but I also understand it on both hands. They're dealing with fucking criminals. They're dealing with the worst of the worst. So I can say this. I've never really, aside from maybe a couple times, like where like the time when they broke into my house and robbed me and shit like that, besides like those times and a couple times where they tried to like pin me for stuff and things like that, all the other times were all justifiable, whether I got off or not. Like, I was the fucking shithead for sure. So more times than not, they're just doing the job. They're trying to, you can't be a sheep and deal with wolves, right? You got to understand from some point of view that they're part of their environment too, and you wouldn't want them to be. You wouldn't want, if you needed to call the police and you needed, r- you know, protection or whatever, right? You don't want a sheep to show up, right? You want a fucking wolf to show up to protect you or whatever. What I don't like is when they start, like I said, violating human rights and stuff like that. That's when I draw the line because that's what they're supposed to uphold. I want them to be a wolf that upholds, their constitutional rights. That to me, I have no problem with any cop that does that, even if they sometimes do some shady shit, So I know some cops who are amazing people, really trying to make a difference in a positive way, but I've met my share of jackass cops too. Yeah, just like people, right? People. There's gonna be goods and bads everywhere. And that's just life, man. That's just life. Same thing like when if you're talking about like people in prison, right? Some of the smartest people are locked up. Some of the most brilliant minds are locked up. And there's also a lot of shitheads. Like it goes both ways. Just like there's a lot of good cops, a lot of bad, a lot of good, just people, humans, right? We're all people. Maurice, keep practicing tying your shoes, bud. Just keep practicing. I love you, Maurice. Don't say that. Fighting evil over and over again will inevitably become evil themselves. Yeah. And if you give too much power too much power, how does that saying go? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Why did you plant apples this time of year? Huh. I'm off for the night, folks. Y'all take care. Later, Dave. Thank you for joining us. So many people in the live today. Amazing. Yeah, we had 170 in here for until I started talking about going to getting crazy. Then people started jumping out, but it is what it is. But yeah, we had 170 people in here at one point. But I'm gonna make sure the next few lives I got some really cool knife topics to talk about. If not, I'll bring somebody in to have conversations with about some really cool knife topics. I like making sure I have a lot of topics to talk about. I always feel like the live didn't go good if I don't. I got a buddy. His channel name is Joe Cool. I know that person. Totally worth a watch if you want to see some. Oh, never mind. I don't know. Want to see some crazy cop videos. He's from downtown Chicago. Nice. Yeah, you'll definitely see some crazy cop stories down there, especially if you go to the south side. I know I've seen my fair share. It was a fudgesicle story. In case you missed it, a fudgesicle story. I don't know about that one. I mean, the story I'm thinking of, I'm not sure if it's the same story, but how many more? I'll tell a fudgesicle story really quick though. I'm not sure if this might not be even the story, but this is kind of a funny story. So, and it'll be really quick because it's not that long of a story. So you guys know, or you guys might not know, but my dad got hurt, was hit by a backhoe, and wound up becoming a paraplegic. He was paralyzed from the nipples down, right? And I took care of him. And, you know, he, like I said, he was paralyzed from the nipples down, so he could only move his arms and his neck, you know. And when he like sat up, he had like this thing that he could pull himself up with and everything. Well, my aunt was there, and my aunt, she's tough, man. She's really fucking tough. And they were arguing about something, her and my dad. And how did it go? He was telling her to get out, get the fuck out, because they were, I remember what they were arguing about, but it doesn't matter. But they were arguing, and he was telling her to get the fuck out. And she's like, I don't have to get out, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, if you don't get out, I'm gonna throw this it was a chocolate popsicle or whatever at you that he was sitting there eating. And she goes, if you throw that thing at me, she's like, I'll jump up there and beat the fuck out of you. And he throws it at her. I don't know if it hit her or not, but it probably did. So then she jumped up there, jumped up on his bed. Bow, 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 bow. Starts lighting him up. He starts grabbing shit that's next to him because remember, he can't move, so he can only move his arm. So he starts grabbing things next to him and hitting her with them. And then he starts reaching for his gun. And I had taken it from him like 2 days before that. And he goes, damn it, Jared. And she goes, what the fuck are you calling Jared for? What the fuck is he going to do? And he goes, well, he took my fucking gun. And she was like, what, were you going to shoot me? He was like, no, but I was going to pistol whip your ass. Oh, fuck. So my dad was about to pistol whip his sister for fucking beating the shit out of him, for him throwing an ice cream cone or a chocolate, whatever, popsicle. Fucking hilarious. Oh, man. I remember I walked in right at the end of it. So, oh my God, it was so hilarious. My dad was so happy afterwards too. Like when she walked out, she was really upset. Like when I walked in, she was all red because you know he would hit her with stuff, and you know they just got done fighting, and I could see like she was irate, but she wanted to beelining out of there. She said something, I don't remember what she said, but my dad, when I walked in, he's sitting there, smile on his face. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? You know, because I heard shit, you know, when I walked in. He was like, I just hit her in the head with my ashtray and all this shit. And he's like, and then he starts bitching. He's like, why'd you take my gun away? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you took my fucking gun. And I'm like, well, yeah, because of whatever, you know. And he's like, well, I could have used it 2 seconds ago. And I'm thinking, for what? He's like, to pistol whip your aunt. Oh, fuck. Man. Oh, man. I can't imagine. If man, being pistol whipped is not a pretty sight, man. Anybody who knows anything about guns knows that will fuck you up bad. So I'm glad I took the firearm from him because I can imagine if he had a pistol whipped her. Oh man, that would have been so bad. It sucks to be late, but it's great to get 5 bones. Thank you, Richard. But can't miss UFC. Better late than never. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 5 bones. Who was fighting, Richard? Yes, I know. Trust me too. I know. Yes, it does hurt. It's more than hurts. It can kill you. It's like anything. I mean, if you like something heavy, like a heavy pipe, if you get hit with that, it can fucking kill you. And it breaks skin every single time. Like it's not like the movies, man. The movies make it seem like you're getting hit with like, I don't know, one of those leather flapjacks or something. No, it's like getting hit with a sharp, like almost like getting hit with a knife in a way. It cuts you every time. Yeah, like kind of like the claw of a hammer, though. That's kind of what it's like. It's like getting hit with the claw of a hammer, or even just the side of a hammer. Yes, it's like a stone in the hand. Even a P80 polymer clone Glock will hurt. Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Especially if it's like the barrel end, which is a lot of times how people do it. In the movies, they show you hitting with the butt. I don't know about all that. Usually it's with the front end of it. And yeah, bad business. Bad business. Who wants to hang out with Maurice on his Illinois farm? My brother makes head cheese. It's good. You'll love it. That sounds like Wisconsin, Maurice. I guess they are pretty close together, though. The movies make it look like a car door deflect pew pew pellets. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's movies, all right. Hollywood. It's like an elbow to the eyebrow. That's what they make it seem like. Or even an elbow, though, man. Elbows hurt bad. I've had my nose broke with an elbow. Oh, I crushed my nose. Had my nose crushed with an elbow. I've been hit with an elbow a few times. Few too many times. But yeah. Had my nose broke. It was crushed. Both my eyes were black and blue. I've had my nose broke a few times. 18 staples and 10 stitches later, I just want to go home and no fucking head cheese. That's hilarious. And no fucking head cheese, Maurice. Oh, man. That's hilarious. Elbow is the hardest strike. Asks. I would, yeah, I mean, I think it depends. Because a headbutt can be pretty devastating too. But yeah, elbow, especially with the right momentum, if they're positioned right, or if they're on their back and you're on top of them, yeah, it's devastating for sure. But headbutts can be pretty bad too. I've caught in a few of those too. I bit my tongue one time getting headbutt. Ooh, that sucked. Dude was way taller than me too, like by like a foot, and way longer arms, just everything. And he caught me. Something happened, and I turned to see what it was, and but when I was looking back, wham, he got me. And I bit the tip of my tongue off. Yeah, sucked. I was a hard strike with the arm. Oh, with the arm, yeah, with the arm for sure. Or hammer fist. Hammer fist can be pretty devastating. Totally depends. Wouldn't want a Thai shin kick for sure. No, that's the most devastating. Would be somebody with conditioned shins to kick you for sure. But in the same breath, somebody with conditioned elbows is the same thing. Their elbows, that's all basically the same thing, but your shin gets that layer of calcium over it. and it gets harder and harder and harder and harder, and it turns into like kind of like concrete, and it shits like it's literally like concrete under your skin. If you've ever seen some of those guys like kicking trees and shit, like you don't want to get kicked in the head by one of those or anywhere in the arm. Don't have your finger in the trigger guard. It will break it so bad. Don't ask how I know. Yeah. Yeah. I I fucking hurt somebody one time because they grabbed my, doesn't matter why, but just know it was stupid, but they grabbed my gun and pointed it at me. And I grabbed the gun and they had the finger on the trigger, and I grabbed the gun and twisted it out of their hand and like grabbed their arm, and I wound up throwing them on the ground. But the point is that their finger got caught in the trigger guard and it fucked them up pretty bad. The shitty thing was it was a girl. But hey, fucking point a gun at someone's head. I mean, doesn't matter if you're male or female, right? I got head butted by one of my students' moms once. Not fun. It's never fun to get head butted. Those Muay Thai fighters throw some hard ass kicks for sure. They're conditioned to do it. That's all they do. What's your job? Throwing kicks? Fucking wrecking house. How about a spinning back kick from Joe Rogan? Yeah, especially Joe Rogan. I think right now, technically on the scale, he's got the strongest kick. Not meaning spinning back kick, but just kick, period. Absolutely. Shout out to Joe Rogan, man. I'm kind of upset they actually took down like 78 episodes of him off of Spotify. I'm not sure if he did it or they did it, so I don't want to speak out of pocket, but one way or another, it's like 78 episodes while I'm getting taken off of Spotify. Got to fight this shit, man. My knocked a chick out. I knocked a chick out with his elbow in Miami. She was trying to grab money out of his pocket. Jared says, I hit a dude with an elbow. He was like nose in my face close. He woke up swinging 5 minutes later, thinking he was still in a fight. I thought I killed him. Yeah, I've been there too, where somebody gets knocked out and they're still swinging as they're going down, or like while they're out, because they're knocked out, so their arms are still moving. I remember these not kids. I don't know why I said kids, but these dudes, I don't know, early 20s. We were having a party and they showed up. I knew one of them, but I didn't know the other guys. And they wound up robbing the place while we were all there. It was a pool. It was like a pool party, slash just party, right? But we were out in the back, and while the party was going on, his friends wound up going and like stealing a PlayStation, Xbox, stuff like that. Well, we caught him, and they ran out of the house, so we went chasing them. Right, caught him out in the front yard. All kinds of shit broke loose. So like there was three of them. The one dude, he's like in his car trying to leave, and my buddy's just fucking just slapping him, slapping him. He's just like just getting slapped to shit. Then I got this. Then my cousin, dude pulls out a baseball bat on my cousin, and my cousin didn't give a fuck. He took the bat from dude. Like dude tried to swing it and swung past him, and he snagged the bat. And while I'm getting the bat from him, now he's chasing him with the bat. And I have this dude out in the street, and dude gets like close to me, like he's like gonna do something or something. I don't know. And since he was within that range, right, I just fucking just wham, and I smashed his face so bad, so bad. His chain broke off and all kinds of shit because his face got crushed. But he was within the range, so it was like that's what, of course you're gonna do that, like because he was within the range of throwing a good punch. So headbutts next. And it was their fault. So it's not like I started a fight or something. Um, that's how you know you had a good childhood, G-Ball. What was that? His biggest mistake was moving over to Spotify. He had nothing but problems since he moved there. But I wouldn't say that, because the reason why he went there was because he was being censored. He got paid an awful lot of money to go there with the deal that they wouldn't censor him. So now it's Spotify isn't the one wanting to censor him. It's the White House. It's all these fucking betas. And they, like, Spotify is just kind of bending to the knee, because it's crazy how they can make a little tiny smidgen of a minority of people seem like the majority, when the overwhelming majority supports Joe Rogan having the freedom to have whoever he wants and have the conversations. And he's right. Everything that has been said has came true or has been right. Everything they say is misinformation, or whatever they say, whatever they try to use to indoctrinate your mind. If you're in Oregon and need a good job, Benchmade has a lot of great paying positions. Nice. Good to know. Yeah, it's just weird that they can, I don't know. It's so fucking weird, man. We're in such a weird time. And I don't believe any of it. I just think it's all manipulation. I think literally 90% of it is manipulated. And the people fighting on that side are either being manipulated to, or have an ascent and like they have ties with something. It's kind of like even looking at the Joe Rogan thing. That guy, and I'm not saying like this is why, but when you look at all his ties, he's tied to Pfizer. So it's like, oh, it's no wonder why he's gonna pull his shit from Spotify if Joe Rogan's on there. Well, he's probably being told to do that. And I'm not saying like that's the reason why, but you could argue that that's probably the reason. He's in their pockets. They can't do nothing with me. I'm my own man in my own world. That's what's up, Maurice. There you go. Yeah, for sure. I'd say this, and I'm pretty proud about what's going. I got to be careful with what I say, but damn it, I'm pretty happy with what's going on in Canada and how they're standing up, and it's amazing. We should definitely pay attention, because it's crazy, man. It's so crazy. And I don't even want to get into this shit. Spotify already has censored him a couple of times with that whole trans thing of Spotify, employees protesting against him. Yeah, it sucks, man. You wish that there was a place that was as good, big, or paid as much that he can go on to. Like, people argue Rumble and stuff like that because Rumble wouldn't censor him, but he won't make the money on Rumble. Not saying he needs the money either, so maybe that might. We'll see. Let's see what winds up happening, because you never know. I don't know what his contract looks like and what he has to do, but he's smart. He knows what he's doing. Just watch it play out. Just like when he did that little clip, they started saying he made an apology. What? Like, you watch the same video I watched? What he said was he's going to continue to make videos, but he's going to bring on people right after one another so that they can have, arguments against the person that he just talked to, right? And I know what he's trying to do. I thought that was genius. That was genius. At first, I was like, no, Joe, don't bend the knee. That's what I thought at first. But it was like, wait a second. Because right after that, if you guys listen to what he said, and I will do my homework. Very, like, he'll study and do his homework. Basically, what he's saying is that he'll have somebody with the opposing viewpoint on there, but he's going to know more about the subject than them, and they'll look stupid. So let him play it out. He'll play his cards right. He's very smart, man. Joe Rogan, give him a lot of credit, man. He knows what he's doing. And he'll get the people up there that have opposing viewpoints, and they won't even be able to argue. They won't even be able to debate because he knows more about the topic than they do. And that's a lot of times what winds up happening when people want to debate him. He knows more about the subject than they do. And when people do know more about him, he sits down and listens and he takes it in. And like he said, you know, the same people that are trying to censor him now are the same people that were saying all these things that weren't true now are facts. Like, it's fucking weird. We're in such a weird time, man. It's some beta bullshit. So fucking weird what we're in this time. These times. He's in a whole different controversy today. They dug up videos of him using the N-word. He still survived it, though. When the context comes out, yeah, who gives a fuck? Everybody's used the N-word. What the fuck are we talking about? Fucking words. We can't let words fucking dictate who the, you know, that's just stupid to me. When we start making it seem like, but yeah, that's the time we're in where words get turned into, like, you know, because words can be used in so many different ways. Once you start saying like that, words mean something when they don't, you know, especially coming out of somebody's mouth that you weren't there for, didn't say. So stupid. It's outright scary the way our country's going. Yeah, it is. Policing people's speech and thoughts is going to lead to, yes, it is. I agree. That's why I was saying before, you know, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but that's why I was saying before that, you know, we need to build communities and get communities together with, you know, strong men that are willing to, you know, I guess, build a community together so that we can be stronger, you know, and spread good information, not just information, but just morals, strong morals. People that are willing to fight for each other and not willing to bend. And it's sad what's happening. So boxing maintenance sucks. Well, it's better than the alternative. I'm not even from this planet. I'm from the fifth dimension. Well, that's why we need you, Maurice. That's why we need you on our side. Who else are we going to have from the fifth dimension? Huh? Everybody else is from this damn planet. You're our only guy from the fifth dimension. So we need you, man. I appreciate that, John. And vice versa. Are you suggesting we all move out to Tennessee, buy some land? Yeah. Yeah, basically. Pretty much. No, I think it's good for us to live all over the country. I think it's good to have people and connections all over the country and have ties with people all over the country so that, you know, you have the connections and the resources and you have people that can, if you have a big enough community, you can support each other, right? You know, with what each other's doing and help keep each other afloat in multiple different ways. My people burnt down the White House. My ancestors fucked it up for me. Look at what's happening to Australia. Those guys were being positive about their government and sticking it out. Yeah, for sure. But that's what always happens. You can't ever imagine that they got your best interest at heart. That's just stupid. That's dumb. I don't remember a time where we've ever like been like that. When have we ever said the government has our best interest? When have we ever said let's bow to the government because we trust them? Like we've all, like, since I was a kid, it was always well known that politicians are the people you don't trust. What do you know about politicians? They lie, right? Like, it's so weird to me. But like I said, but I do think it's all by design. I don't think that people actually do. I think they just make you think that people do. I think they make masses think that other people are bending the knee and like are subservient, and then they can make these people think that their side is subservient, right? then they get tricked into being subservient. And if they, as long as they make you think there's two sides, then they win. That's why you can't believe that bullshit about sides and everything. There isn't sides. It's all the same. It's just they make you think there is, just like they think you white and black, Republican and Democrat, left and right, whatever, right? You can think of all the different sides. Like they want sides. If they have sides, they have you separated. We just gotta be together, man. Yeah, it's about time for some more tea. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I know it's been late. Let's finish this up though with something positive, because I hate when we finish it off on something negative. But I also don't want to refuse to talk about these subjects, because I do think it's detrimental to not just people, but society, for people to keep their fucking mouths shut. Right? Like, we need people, especially good, strong men, to speak out and talk about it so that people understand, like, what, because otherwise you think everybody fucking believes and agrees with the dumbest shit. It's so weird to me. But so I do not have a problem with speaking my mind about it and saying what I think. And I think it's important that people do that. I do think it's very important that we all do that. Especially in such a tight community like this, because we all have our wonders about, I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about something good. I'll think of something. I know there's a topic I didn't hit. We are going to finish this off with Kaiser's detents. So I was actually studying Kaiser's detents the past couple days, and I was trying to figure out, because if you guys don't remember, a couple months ago, they did this thing, or maybe it was a few months ago, where they took the pivots and they basically relieved all the material on this side so that it's blade heavy. So when it's on bearings, since it's blade heavy and there's no weight inside the pivot, it's very easy for it to fall, right? That's one thing. They cut out these little tiny notches on the inside of the pivot where you could drip oil into it. Dead center right here in the middle. If you look, there's two little notches in there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but anyways, you can drip oil down in there, but then it also relieves weight. So then now there's like no weight, and it's really smooth. They cut it out, they polish it, and it makes it where the bearings are like just so easy to spin, like, because the blade is so much heavier than this side. So it just drops. Anyways, now I was trying to wonder, because the lock bar pressure isn't very strong. They don't do the craziest, like, strongest lock bar pressure, which also in return makes it more drop shutty, right? Because the more stronger a lock bar pressure is, the less smooth it is. Just like this knife, right? This knife, very smooth. If I put pressure on this lock bar, it's not smooth no more. I'm putting pressure on the detent ball that's riding on the blade. So it's going to prevent it from being smooth, right? So it's like, okay, so that's why it's so smooth. So then how are their detents so strong, right? If there's no lock bar pressure. So what I noticed is that they started doing bigger detent balls. If you look at their detents are like good sized detent balls. And let me see if I can show you guys. Now, there's one little issue, though. It's not really an issue. Maybe I can't show you guys on this. No, I can't. Regardless, big detent balls, light pressure. So the light pressure lets it be smooth on the drop, but the big detent ball makes it have a nice snappy detent. Now, one issue is that with some of the coated blades, not all, but some of them, and maybe it's not just all the coated blades, but this one kind of has it. The detent ball can tend to stick. This one really has it. Let me show you guys. Listen to this. This is the mini sheepdog. Hear that? The detent is like sticking in there. but it gives me super snappy action, like really good action. Great, like you cannot fail this. So I like it. But I think what's happening is that the detent is nice and big, fitting right in the ball or right in the hole, and you hear the pop because it's like popping out of it. But sometimes when they coat the blade, I think in that hole, it winds up getting even tighter. So now the detent ball fits in the hole, but it's so tight that it's sticking. So you could say it's good or bad. I personally kind of like it, even this one. Super strong detent. It makes them detents nice and strong, but in a good way. Now, some people might argue that the bigger the detent ball is hanging out like that, the bigger chances it could be of being ripped out. I don't see too many detent balls being ripped out, but just to prevent that from happening to you guys, make sure when you unlock, don't let the blade hit and then do that. Unless if there's a ramp, because the reason why detent ramps exist is to stop the blade from ripping the detent ball out when you close it like that. So when you unlock it and now it's on the detent ball right there, it's on the detent ball, don't just push past it unless if it's nice and smooth. If it's nice and smooth, it's fine. But if you notice that when it does that, it breaks, like kind of like I was just showing you with this one, where it goes like that, don't do it, because you can pop that detent ball out and you don't want to lose that. It sucks, but I had to at least own one tie frame lock. Yeah, you should. Everybody should own at least 5 titanium frame locks. This is the Miguron Flicks. Check this edge out now. Oh yeah, look at that edge. Look at that edge. Oh yeah. She purdy. She's beautiful. She's so sharp. Super sticky. I laid back the angle really far on it. So she's got a nice, oh, she's so sticky. We'll do one little cut and then we'll get the hell out of here. We'll cut the carbides with the carbides. She shot. She shot for sure. There's definitely 1,000 different tie frames locks to choose from. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, there's a lot, especially in this day, because they are a lot more obtainable now. Back in the day, though, man, they were tough. Like, I remember wanting a titanium frame lock so bad. I wanted one so bad. But I knew, like, in order for me to get a titanium frame lock, it was going to cost me like 250, 350 bucks. Then Tucson came around and started offering some for like 100 bucks. And I didn't think it could be true. That's not possible. Maybe it was a little more than that at the time. No, actually, yeah, it was right around that price. Even cheaper sometimes. But now they're a dime a dozen. You can get titanium frame locks everywhere. Some of them are more expensive. Some of them are cheaper. Just depends. They're still going to be more expensive than, than budget knives. Have you ever done a drop test, as in drop something on the knife and it cuts it in two? Yeah, I have. I should actually do an Instagram like that. Not a bad idea. I think I might do that tomorrow for Instagram. I like doing my Instagram posts. Um, how is the concept Predatout compared to a Kaiser frame lock? It's different. So I like the Predatout a lot. It's concept is a little different. So it got extremely smooth. If you were here earlier, we were talking about bearing action that feels so smooth. It's similar. The feeling is similar to washers. It's like that, where it's super smooth. The action's really good, but it's so frictionless. Like when it goes up and down, it's so frictionless. You don't feel the bearings at all. It feels almost like it's on washers, and I mean that in the best way possible, like in a good way. But yeah, it's a great knife. I just wouldn't. It's not really comparable to Kaiser's. I know they used to work for them, but it's just different. Yeah, it's different. So he didn't do it. Great suggestion. Do what? Is that Miguron better than the Beacon or Subjugator? That's tough. No. It's good. It maybe equal. I wouldn't say it's tough, man. It's tough. It's really good, but there's some things that are better and some things are better the other way. So it's just different. It's hard to compare. If this front flipper had better jimping and was taller or just had sharper jimping, I would say yes. But that's the one thing that kind of pisses me off about it, is just that damn jimping. I mean, it's fine. I can deploy it every time, but it just pisses me off. All right, guys. Thank you guys for all the donations. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and shooting the shit and talking knives and steel. I think this was a good live. I think we got off in the weeds at the end, but you guys know I love the weeds. I live in the weeds. I appreciate you guys joining me. I appreciate all the moderators throwing up the links, supporting, and doing all kinds of hard work every time. Corey, thank you. You have a good one too. I appreciate all the patron members. And if you don't know, we do giveaways monthly on Patreon. So if you want to have a chance to win a giveaway, you can join the patron and get involved in monthly giveaways. Soon we are going to have the join button for people that want to do sharpening stuff, and you guys will see, because I have the join button coming. I'm like 80% done with it. Thank you guys for everything. I love you guys. Peace.